everyone, and welcome to the Daryl Talks podcast. Today, we have got a family member. We have got my sister-in-law, Becca, and we're going to learn a lot about her life. Without further ado, welcome, Becca.
Hello.
Feels weird. I don't think I've called you Becca for a while.
Literally never in your life.
Before we start, I would just like to go through a few icebreaker questions. Although the ice has already been broken many years ago. So, first question is, if you were to meet 3 people for a dinner party, dead or alive, celebrities that is, who would they be?
I would meet Henry VIII, because he's wild.
Just wild.
Maybe Michael McIntyre, because he's hilarious. And Dwayne Johnson, because he's beautiful.
He is your guy, isn't he?
100%. 100%.
And currently I'm trying to grow out a sort of Michael McIntyre-esque haircut, apparently.
Literally.
The second question is, what would be your go-to karaoke song?
Mamma Mia. ABBA. Always.
Why?
Because it's fantastic.
It's very flamboyant, isn't it?
I feel I could be quite flamboyant.
Yeah, you have your moments. Third and final question is, if you could have one meal for the rest of your life that gives you all the nutrition you need, what meal would it be?
Roast chicken.
Good. That's a solid choice.
Yeah.
Very
yeah.
British.
Like all the trimmings, good gravy.
So explain to me what's on your plate.
Gravy, chicken, roast potatoes, Yorkshire pudding.
How many roast potatoes?
A good 5 to 6.
Yeah?
Yeah. Sweet corn, applesauce, stuffing, carrots. Need them.
What about Yorkie?
Yeah, Yorkshire pudding, said that.
Oh, sorry.
We don't really need anything else. Oh, collie cheese.
Collie cheese.
Like that really good one. The
One that Mother
cheesy one.
makes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Her roast chicken, basically.
Yeah. Basically. But a Granny Pat roast potato.
Oh, covered in
Like the beef.
lard, wasn't it? Was it dripping?
She used to use lard or beef dripping.
Yeah.
They were good.
So, let's get into it. How do we know each other?
You knocked up my sister
Yeah, I did.
twice.
I'm figuratively high-fiving all the men.
No, you married my sister.
I did. So we met in 2006.
We did. When I was just a little nipper of 14.
You were 14, which is so weird. Because now potentially you're more adult than I am.
Most likely.
You caught up, overtook,
Yes.
and now you're like a granny.
Yeah, I am.
Becca loves nothing more than an extra layer of clothing,
Oh, yes. Lovely.
a cup of tea and comfort,
A nice biscuit to dunk.
but nothing too hard because it might difficult to process.
Oh, dear.
So we met when you were 14, and you were a bit of an emo.
I was definitely living on the darker side.
Absolutely. If you could picture that, the only person that I've got in my head right now is Ian Watkins, who is now in jail for being in a paedophile ring.
Fab.
The lead singer of Lost Prophets.
Oh, yeah.
Wrong'un.
Wrong'un.
Absolute wrong'un.
Great music.
Great music. Total wrong'un. But you had the sweeping fringe.
I did. Everything was black and red and stripy and...
Yeah. And you weren't miserable.
No.
But you had your moments of miserable, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I like to be a bit of a misery.
I feel like I cheered you up a bit.
Always. Every time.
And even during the blips that me and Liz may have had being such young people.
Yeah.
Me and you still stay friends, didn't we?
Oh, yes. We had many a road trip
We used to go. Just used to go random places, didn't we?
Yeah. I remember once we went to Plymouth to get a McDonald's and your car battery died.
And I had to get my granddad out.
You did.
Rest in peace, Tony. So yeah, so you were emo. When did you actually come away from that?
I think it was just as I got older, when I was hitting like 19, 20, and then when I moved to New Zealand for a bit, I couldn't wear dark colours all the time. It was really hot.
How old were you when you went to New Zealand?
22?
And what was it you did over there? Was it, what do they call it?
Au pair. So I was basically a live-in nanny.
A live-in nanny. Only posh people have that over here.
Over here, yeah. I think
Is it
so.
like a more normal thing over there?
Yeah, absolutely. So anywhere like New Zealand, Australia, that is just standard. Like, it's cheap as well.
Were you on, was it less than minimum wage?
Yeah. So when I was in New Zealand, I think it was about $200 a week. But I would live there. So obviously my accommodation was paid. All my meals were paid. They usually gave you a car and things like that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if they had that over here?
I actually funny spoke to Dan today and said we should definitely get an au pair, give them like £100 a week.
Yes.
And just live our best lives.
Yeah. They must be a lot more trusting over in New Zealand.
Oh yeah, definitely. I did do it through a company though, the first time. Just to make sure I wasn't going to get kidnapped and murdered.
And what was like, I just remember FaceTiming you.
Yeah.
And you looked like you were having such fun.
Yeah, I had a blast. It was great. It was an amazing year. Did everything.
Go into more detail, please.
So every like weekend we'd travel to a different part of New Zealand. So I've literally seen from the top to the bottom just on weekend travel.
Is there 2 parts as well?
Yeah, so you got the North Island and the South Island.
Did you do both?
Yeah, I lived on the North Island and travelled all around on like weekends and things. And then the South Island, me and a girl I met over there, Chelsea, who's from America, we rented a van and just drove.
Is that where you met a certain lovely German chap?
Yes. I met a lot of German people actually. But yes, that is where...
One in particular that literally brings a smile to my face.
That's where I met Nick, known to us as Niklaus, who came to your wedding.
Yes, so I met Niklaus when he came across to visit you.
Yes.
And we were house sitting at the time. And we invited him over for dinner. And you never know what it's going to be like when you meet people. And especially me being so outgoing and jokey.
Yeah.
And me and him just became besties within minutes of meeting one another. He is such a nice guy and we had such a laugh. And we went out in the town.
Yeah.
And he could not keep up with us drinking.
He definitely let the Germans down.
Yes. And there were many jokes.
Many.
Most of them from him as well.
Yeah. Later, Gail.
And one of my favourite quotes from him was, "It's got to the point now where it's been long enough, we can start making the odd joke." And it just, yeah, he was brilliant. So we stayed in touch. We messaged like back and forth on like various social medias. I invited him to our wedding.
Not our wedding, no.
I
That's a
invited him.
later date.
Yes, the next wedding. I invited him to Liz and mine.
Mine.
To Liz.
Mine and Liz's.
To mine and Liz's wedding. And he said yes. He asked whether he could bring his girlfriend Regina, who I believe he is still with.
Yep.
And also, he is a regular listener to the podcast.
Is he really?
He is. And I can always tell because on my stats, it tells me what country they're listening from.
No
and
way.
German is always there.
Love that for you.
Yes. Anyway,
You're welcome.
less about Niklaus, because I wish for him to come over and do an episode.
We could make that happen.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Bit worrying, though. He's in the army.
Maybe when he's on a holiday.
So, yeah. So, you were over there for the whole year.
Yep.
And you travelled.
Yep.
Is that why you did bungee jumps and stuff? You were like a bit of a
adrenaline junkie.
That's the badger.
I did 3 bungee jumps, 1 skydive, some cave tombing, water rafting, you name it, I did it, dude.
I remember. Didn't you do a long walk?
Oh my goodness.
Which you didn't look particularly impressed
I was livid. The Tongariro crossing, I quite literally climbed Mount Doom off of Lord of the Rings. But you started off and it was like 68,000 million steps. Obviously, slight exaggeration. And then you climbed the side of this mountain. But it was like raining, then sunshine, then snowing. And then that on the way down as well. It was hard.
So, then you came back.
Yep.
What did you do then?
I went back to my old jobs. So, went back to the co-op, worked in the bakery. And then also went back to my Chinese takeaway.
I knew it.
Yep. And then, I did that for another 18 months. And then I went off again.
Where did you go?
Australia.
Crikey.
Did the same thing. Did another au pair session there for 6 months. Went back to New Zealand in that time as well to say howdy to my pals.
How far is Australia from New Zealand?
It's like a few hours on a plane.
Because to me, they're like next door.
Like a hop,
so it's
skip
like
and a jump.
so it's like pop into the shop for milk.
Not quite.
So it's
but
like here going to Germany or so.
Yeah, I guess. I feel like that was about right.
Yeah, or Spain. Or
I think it also depends where from Australia to New Zealand.
Yes, because Australia's massive, isn't it?
Yeah, so
whereabouts did you go in Australia?
I was in New South Wales, at a place called Grafton, but it's near the Gold Coast, so I did like Brisbane and the Gold Coast a lot.
So one side is Brisbane, the other side is Perth and Sydney.
Yeah,
Where's Brisbane?
up from Sydney.
Yeah, East Coast.
Yeah, sure, that's what we're gonna say. I mean, I went there. I didn't look at a map.
So, is it true that if you go to New Zealand first, Australia seems less good? Because I've heard that from...
Personally, yes.
Do you think that was because of the people you met and the whole atmosphere the first time going away?
Yeah, I think I got lucky. The family I had that I was placed with in New Zealand, I still speak to now. They were literally fantastic. I love them. And in Australia, again, they're great. It was just a different type of family.
Yeah.
So, I think I lived in New Zealand. I lived with Cheryl and Stephen, who are grandparents as such, but I looked after their grandchildren, so I didn't live with the children. They had 3 daughters, and their children is who I looked after. So there was three children from one daughter and 2 children now from a second daughter, and that's who I looked after.
Just you?
Yeah.
5 children?
So, not all at the same time.
Oh, okay.
When I arrived, I looked after 3 children, and then that changed, and I ended up looking after Isabel, who was only a few months old.
She was gorgeous. She was so cute.
So I basically was with her from 3 months up until whenever.
Yeah.
But I did her first food, first crawl, first roll, first walk, first everything.
Oh, so that was probably your first insight into motherhood.
Yeah, literally. It was heartbreaking leaving her. It was
I
horrible.
bet.
Literally, it was. I still have a toy that was hers.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I remember the picture. My last meal. It was literally
Jesus.
heartbreaking. Yeah. And she's just sat on me. I was her human, other than her mum and dad.
I remember the FaceTiming,
Yeah.
and it was, she was just so cute. She
Yeah.
was beautiful. So, where did Fran come along?
Franny Ann.
Yeah.
I took over from Fran in Australia. She
Oh,
was the
okay.
au pair, and then I arrived to take over.
Because I know Fran has played quite a big part in your life since then, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's the best. She never left Australia whilst I was there. Like, she came home to the UK for a holiday, and then she went back because she was with a guy from Australia at the time. But that went a little pear-shaped, and she ended up living with me in her old house because I then lived there, obviously, with the family. So she moved in with me and shared my bed for a few months.
I've met Fran when she came down to visit you.
Yeah.
She was amazing. She went on Liz's hen do,
She did, yeah.
and she got stuck right in.
Yeah. She is wild.
Yeah. I always look forward to speaking with her.
Yeah. She's great.
You did, so you finished Australia.
Yep.
Did you decide you were done with travelling, or did it just so happen that happened?
No, I wasn't done. The plan was always come home, do something, get money, and go. It just didn't quite pan out that way.
Why is that?
So I met Dan. And we were planning a life together, and then COVID happened, and then Joey happened.
So let's just backtrack a little bit.
Yeah.
So Dan, who is now your future husband,
He is.
Dan is one of my best friends.
Yeah.
So much so that for the year leading up to mine and Liz's wedding, Dan lived with us.
He did.
And he was like a little pet.
It's the
He'd-
best way to describe him.
He'd scurry around. He was quiet.
Unless he was asleep.
Yes, but honestly, we really missed him when he was and we got married, and he came home, and Dan was there, like not opening our presents, but was with us when we were opening our wedding presents and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, so how did you meet? Come on. Come on.
Rumour has it was all on you.
I don't mean to brag, but
After a little carvery outing one.
yeah, I always thought Dan and Bec would be like, at the very least, really good friends, because I don't know, I feel like Becca would bring out the exciting,
His character.
would bring out his funny side, which I see all the time, and I just thought they'd be a good match. So one day, because Dan obviously lived with us, we were going for a roast at the Windy Ridge, and I could have sat next to Bec. In fact, usually I would have sat next to Bec at any given opportunity.
Always.
Because we cause havoc.
Yeah.
We're very similar in terms of jokiness, and once we start laughing, we cannot stop. But this time I thought, you know what? Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time. So I sat the next one over, and there was only one space for friend Daniel left.
What a rebel.
I know. And so that was when you first met.
Yes, but apparently I've actually met him before that. At a rugby
Yes.
game. I don't remember that.
Yeah, so he came back to your house
He did.
very briefly,
Yeah.
and you met there.
I always say that Dan and I met properly on a night out with the puffers.
Yeah, the puffer fish.
I was at bingo, village hall bingo with a friend, which I shouldn't admit really, and Liz forced me out.
Yeah, so we were having a party here with a couple of friends. We call ourselves the puffer fish.
I don't even know why.
I don't know why.
Is it not because we were Googling sex names and terms and things like that, wasn't it?
Oh, there was
What's
the
the
puffer
pufferfish?
fish, yeah.
And what's the whatever?
Maybe, I can't remember.
I think it is.
However, it's Ewan, who we spoke about previously on many podcasts,
Yeah.
and his partner, Laura, Daniel, Bec, Liz, and myself.
That's it.
And we all went out, we played beer pong, we got hammered. And I can't handle my drink whatsoever.
No.
In fact, I believe it was my fault we ended up calling an end to the night.
It was your fault my kebab had puke in. It was also your fault that we had to walk from town instead of being dropped off right outside, which is where Daniel tried to push me in front of a moving car after I pushed him into a hedge. That's where our love story started.
See, treat 'em mean, keep 'em keen.
Apparently.
Works both ways. And yes, it was a great night, and you just headed off there.
Yeah.
And then, could have been like a couple of weeks later, Daniel came downstairs and said, Elizabeth, Daryl, could you have a seat? And I said, I'm already sat down, right, Daniel? He said, I've been conversing with your sister-in-law and your sister, and we would like to go out on a date. Is that okay? And it was just... Dan's not a sweet person. I mean, he is, but I hadn't seen that side to him, and he looked so nervous, like I was going to go, nope.
I think he was probably more scared of Liz.
Probably, yes. I'm not too intimidating.
Not compared to Liz.
No. And also, many years ago, you were heartbroken.
I was.
By a gentleman.
If we can call him that.
Yes, fair enough. And good to see you've got over it.
Yeah, not holding any grudges.
And I felt upon myself that like a protective brother.
Yeah.
And me and Daniel were on a night out, and I knew that this lad worked in the same place, and I spotted him, and me, not being the aggressive type,
Yeah.
said, I'd just like to have a word with you, please, Squire. And he didn't, I didn't introduce myself, so he didn't know what it was. And then anyway, I ended up getting proper wound up, and then Dan is holding my ankles as I'm trying to climb over the bar, saying, I just want to talk to him. I just want to talk to him.
You're a psycho.
He wasn't very nice, and I wished him unwell.
Good for you.
However, he probably could have beat me up.
I think you would have had a fair game.
Yeah. Who knows?
Maybe we should find out.
If you're listening and you know what we're talking about, don't get in contact, please. I'm a family man.
I've changed.
So yeah, and so Daniel was there.
Yeah.
Protecting
your
ex.
Yeah.
From being Daryl.
Oh, yes.
Dangerous Daryl.
Double D came out.
So yeah, so you met Dan, and it wasn't that long after that you came to the decision that he was going to move out from our house.
No, it was a little way off.
Oh, because he went travelling, didn't he?
If you could call it that. He, bless his heart, went to Australia.
Sweat a bit.
He was supposed to be there for many months, and instead he went over when there was all the wildfire and needed to come home. I think it was 6 weeks in and was like, seen a lot, done a lot, need to come home now.
I feel like you played a big part in that as well. Not your fault, but I think he was missing his gal.
There's a lot of me to miss.
Yes. No, that makes you sound big.
No. I'd miss me.
Yeah. So, eventually, he moves in with you.
After 18 months, I think.
And your mother.
And my mother.
And
What a gal.
Daniel's gone from all the freedom in the world to then living with a couple to then living with his potentially first mother-in-law and his new girlfriend.
Hopefully his only mother-in-law, I'd like to add. Not his first.
There's still time. We've already spoke about our marriage.
Well, true. Very true. You wouldn't even have to change your mother-in-law.
Saves me paperwork. Sorry, I just footsied you.
You did give you a little toe rub.
And then COVID hit.
Yes. COVID hit before he moved in.
Did it?
So he came back from Australia just before Christmas, and COVID hit the following March. He didn't move in with me till the October.
Oh, okay.
He was with me for the second wave of lockdowns? But no, he was with you because you did Bake Off. And
we did Bake Off.
And whatever else you got up to.
We built a bar.
You built a bar.
I built a bar. Daniel lived here.
Daniel knew it was done.
He drank thinking about it.
And we did online quizzes and stuff with all the family, didn't we?
Oh my God, we did, yeah. So he moved in the October.
Yeah, October 24th.
Oh my God, you still remember it?
Yeah.
And how long after?
What, little J dog?
Yeah.
The following June, I found out.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And it was an emotional day for me.
For everyone.
No, don't care.
Yeah.
It was a bit. It was an unexpected. It wasn't a planned.
A definite
pregnancy.
oopsie daisy.
Yeah.
But the best one.
Yeah, of course. Because he is an absolute legend.
He's a legend. Yeah. He's someone else.
And during that, when did you get into care?
When I was in Australia with Fran, we were just talking about job opportunities and what to do next and all of that. And I just didn't want to go back to my original jobs because I'd been in the Chinese for 13 years at this point and been in co-op since I was 18. So she suggested, why not do care? Because I was good at it, like looking after the kids and stuff, but I love old people. So that's what I did.
Is that because you act like one?
Basically.
There's a common theme here.
Looking after my own man.
Go on, guys.
Obviously, now that I'm in care, there's a lot more to it than looking after old people, which is what I originally thought. But 6.5 years into it, there's a lot that you see. A lot more to it.
What's the like? Because I imagine it can be very rewarding.
Oh, yeah.
But isn't your job the last bit of life bit?
Yes, the company I work for, we specialised in end-of-life care.
That rewarding bit negates.
It depends how you look at it. We see it as it's rewarding to give someone a good death. That's how it's worded.
Oh, fair enough.
So if the last thing we can do for someone is to keep them comfortable, make them happy, respect their wishes, whether it be opening a window once they pass to let their spirit out, wearing certain clothing or anything like that, talking about what they want to talk about, that's a good death.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah.
I know it's quite morbid. It's literally morbid.
It is, but it's inevitable. So let's make it a good one.
Yeah, that's really sweet.
Yeah.
That's quite a nice way of looking at it,
I'm
actually.
quite a nice person, actually. Shocker.
I know. And do you still do care work?
So I am not in the community. I am the care manager now, so I am back office, head office, however, whatever,
Yeah.
in charge of the peeps.
Do you miss doing?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes no, because I sound silly, like if it's raining or something, and I'm like, ugh, hate to be out in that, man. But actually, I miss the interaction with the clients.
Yeah.
I went out and actually did an assessment a couple of weeks ago for a friend of ours' parents, and it was just great to be out of the house and to chat and to learn about their life. And I don't do that from my office chair. Like, I hear about it, but it was really nice to actually speak to someone.
Yeah, see, people have always said that I would be good in care, but just like I said about working with children,
Yeah.
I feel like I'd get too attached and literally my heart would break every time.
So there's a couple of people that will always be in my heart, and that's because they were my clients that I cared for every day, that I looked after. I was their first carer, things like that. Even now, I well up thinking about them because they were family. They meant everything. It was hard.
And it seems like that is such an important job. However, it's classed as medial.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, so...
Sorry, I don't know whether that's the right term.
People, I don't know, I think it's like they look down on carers.
Yeah.
Because we're just carers. We just wipe bums or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do. We literally do. But I'd rather have a clean one than not, so thank God for carers.
Yeah.
And also, it's like, we don't just sit and have a cup of tea with someone. Like, yeah, there are some clients that we do that with, but we see some horrific things and some lovely things. Like, I've walked into some houses and you wipe your feet on the way out.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know necessarily what you're going into all the time, but we're there to help people. Like,
Is it difficult with the other family members?
sometimes you can get some really tricky ones and they just fight you constantly because, I don't know, they're either not happy with how you do things because it's not how they do it, even though we do it how it should be done in line with the government, etc. Or they're just never happy. Like, they're just not happy people, so they gotta blame someone, I guess.
Yeah. Effectively, they're like a customer, aren't they?
Yeah,
You
they
get
are. They
all
are
sorts
a
of
customer.
types, all sorts of walks of life.
They are clients, and they pay for a service. It just so happens they need the service as much as...
Yeah, because there is always, unfortunately, there is always going to be a demand.
Yeah, literally. People always die.
Yeah, and you can't...
People get old. People need help. It's a fact.
Yeah, and for the families, they can't quit their jobs because they've got families.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's where you step in.
Yeah.
And am I correct in saying that you've got an award ceremony to go to?
Yes, to be fair, it mostly happened whilst I was on maternity, but I like to take a bit of credit. It wasn't me at all.
Oh, it's how you left it.
They have completed the Gold Standards Framework, which is about end-of-life care, basically. We are now going to be accredited for it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool, actually.
And so what do you get to do?
We just basically know how to deliver the correct end-of-life care and how to write the correct care plans and things like that, basically.
And so by getting that certificate or that accreditation, does that change pricing plans and such things?
I think you could, but it wouldn't change ours.
No.
The Karen, who's the owner and the registered manager, she would never, she's not like that. It's not about the money, it's about the care.
Of course.
Which is why our company is so good.
Yeah, and that's why I asked, because I was hoping that would be the answer.
Yeah, it'd be really shit. I was like, we've increased everything.
And now it's dollar.
Like, yeah, you could absolutely put that in your tagline and be like, we're going to increase by this much because of, but no, we're not like that. Not that sort of company.
So you're like, obviously, your career progression is a massive thing for you because you were a carer, you're a manager.
Yeah.
How did having children, did that throw a spanner in the works, or
Not so much a spanner. It
it could be
definitely,
a screwdriver? It doesn't. This.
maybe,
Mm.
it definitely, it didn't slow anything down as such. It just paused me ever so slightly. So I still do my same job role. I'm just there a little bit less and try and do the same amount. So fingers crossed for that. And I suppose it grounded me a little bit in I couldn't just say, oh, I'm going to be registered next and do it. I have to get back to being full time and things like that first,
Yeah.
basically.
No, fair enough. And how have you found parenting?
It's definitely like a whirlwind of emotion and challenge and stuff.
So we are in a very fortunate position that Joey and Maisie, Becca's children, are like mine and Liz's children,
Yeah.
and Lyra and Jackson are like Becca and Dan's children. So it doesn't, if they pop up or if we need to have them for any reason whatsoever, nothing, we're not too busy for that. We don't
Yeah.
need that to be planned. It's just normal. And the children feel like it's normal as well.
Yeah, those four being together is just normal.
And Joey and Lyra, they're 9 months apart, but they are like brother and sister.
Yeah.
They love to hate each other and they hate to love each other.
Oh, always.
The emotions that they go through together, they go from cuddling to wanting to do a murder.
Literally.
And-
Literally.
But Joey's so good for Lyra in terms of her development
Yeah.
because I'm sure she's skipping steps because
Yeah. She's
of
around.
Joey.
Yeah. I mean, Lyra's good for Joey just to ground him a little.
she's so
Sit on
bossy.
him.
All I hear when they're downstairs is Joey Barden, or and that's just coming from Lyra, or cuddle me,
God away.
or Joey stop.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I think we, in a way, support each other, don't we? So our bad times we talk about. Me and Dan talk about it.
Yeah, definitely.
We unfortunately, because of our lives, we don't get to see each other as much.
Not
but
as often now.
I feel completely blessed because two of my arguably best friends combined created, and I'm so lucky.
Created a house of burdens.
I know.
Literally. Do you know there's only 6 months between Maisie and Jackson?
Is there?
Yeah.
No way.
They're too young to like.
Yeah, I wonder if they're gonna be like.
I think they'll be worse.
'Cause Jackson's already starting to get vocal.
Yeah.
Maisie
Doesn't
has
shut up.
I cannot remember a time when she was
Quiet.
before she started making noise.
About
It's just one day she woke up and was like, "This is me now." Ah!
about 6 hours after she was born.
She's lovely though. And the amount of times we get confused for being parents,
Yeah.
and
Like that, you and I have 4 children together.
yes,
Yeah. Very close in age. I'm not sure how we planned it, but
told you, top shagger. So the birth of Joey was a little bit traumatic, wasn't it?
I was a splashing on the traumatic
Can
side.
you just talk about it a little bit?
I was diagnosed with preeclampsia at around 28 weeks.
What's that?
It's basically sometimes when you get pregnant, you can get pregnancy-induced problems such as high blood pressure, diabetes, things like that. Preeclampsia is one of those things, and it's where my blood pressure was so uncontrollably high all the time, and that had to be monitored with medication and things like that. And then I had insane swelling, and you could see stars in your eyes and pain in your the right side by your rib cage, and it was horrid. But I think it's after birth is when it's most dangerous.
Oh,
because
really?
it comes like eclampsia, and that's when your body can go into and start have fits and stuff like that.
So you having Joey potentially could have been fatal.
Yeah.
Like worse.
Worst case scenario, I die.
Yeah. So you spent a lot of time in hospital
Yes.
during that time.
Yes, I did. I was there a lot. My first stay in hospital was at 28 weeks. And then I had medication. And then I had to go in once a week to have my blood pressure monitored for a few hours at a time, or 2 hours each time. And then after a few weeks, it got worse. So the medication got upped and I had to go in twice a week. And this just went on throughout my entire pregnancy.
And was Joey, 4 weeks early?
3 weeks.
3 weeks early.
So
he wasn't classed as early term, is that right?
No, so we got away with it by 6 hours or something.
No way.
Yeah. I got admitted around 35 weeks pregnant because my blood pressure was uncontrollable at that point, so I had to stay in. And he was all right. They were monitoring him like every day. And then I had a scan after I was admitted, and they discovered he hadn't grown for a while. So he was looking very small. And then at 36 weeks and something, they did another scan and said, he's not coping, time to get him out. So I got induced. I had one very tiny contraction that I don't remember having because I didn't feel it. And his heart rate dropped. And so they whipped him out. And that was that. And he came out £4.4.
Oh, he was so dinky.
Oh, he was diddy.
Yeah. There's a photo of me holding him. And it's like having a little chinchilla.
He looked like a little chimp.
He did.
He had the most
really
wrinkly
did.
forehead.
Yeah.
And he's still so hairy.
Oh my God. He is the hairiest child I've ever seen.
His back is like a grown man. Not even a you grown man, because you've got about 4 hairs. Like,
honestly, I'm a late bloomer, my mum says.
he's an ape.
Yeah. And his head of hair is,
Luscious.
oh my God, I'm so jealous.
His first haircut was at 7 months old.
That's madness.
Yeah.
And it was because it was out of control. It wasn't because, you just wanted him to have a do.
It was insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cute.
So if you had to choose right this second,
Yeah.
what do you think Joey is going to be doing as an adult?
Ooh.
What would you think he was going to be?
I'd like to say something like doctor. Something like that. But I feel it would probably be something absolutely ridiculous. Like he's going to be like a camel trainer or something.
A camel trainer.
You know.
A camel trainer.
Yeah, he's going to be like some sort of dude. And like he'll work on a bungee jump or something.
Now, I don't know whether this is true, but I'm sure that a dude is another word for a camel's penis.
You heard it here first, team. That's going to be a thing. Camel trainer. I'm not sure what he's training them for, but something.
So, what do you think Maisie will be?
I think she'll surprise us all and be like a, I don't know, chef or professor or something. Like she'll just pull something random out. Not as random as Joey, but like a highly educated something.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think she'll shock us all. At the moment, she's just something else.
And so what does the future hold for you then?
I don't know, really. I'm just playing mum right now. Playing mum, trying to get my career back on track with the hours I work and stuff. Like, next step would be to become a registered manager.
Nice.
Which is the big boys. And then, yeah, get married.
Get married.
Yeah. Next year.
It's going to be the best stag do.
Yeah. Best hen do.
There's one thing you've missed out massively is that you're also a trained massage therapist.
I am.
Is that the right way?
Massage therapist.
Because you're not allowed to say masseuse anymore, are you?
I don't know, you're not?
I don't know. I thought that might be classed as one if there's one with a bit of everything.
Oh, like a sex worker. Is that what you mean?
No, not at all.
What do you mean?
What?
Oh, you mean
if
like...
it's masculine and feminine, and one's if they're a bit of
Right.
both. So I didn't think you were allowed to say
Oh,
monsieur,
no,
masseuse.
I didn't realise
So
that's
you're a
what they were.
massage therapist
I am a trained massage therapist and body waxer.
and body waxer.
Yeah, I did that recently.
Have you done your intimate one?
No, that's on the list. Wax me some balls.
And that is the only reason you're doing it?
Literally. Yeah.
Yeah, if there's one thing I've always known about you. You love a bollock.
Who doesn't?
What made you want to do massage therapy?
When I had Joey and I was on maternity, I got bored, basically. I don't like not working. I went back to work reasonably early, just doing kit days and things like that. But yeah, I just got bored and thought, let's just do something that I enjoy, something that's relaxing for me as well as obviously other people. And yeah, that was it. Literally, that was the only reason. It's just good to have a side hustle if I need it. If care didn't work out in the end for my family, which it has worked out, and that's great, but I just enjoy it. Just do it every so often.
What do you think it is about touching people?
I don't know, I just really like it, obviously.
Perfect.
Just can't get me enough of skin.
Yeah, because that's the bit. In the films, they're all like skinny humans or henchmen.
Yeah,
But in reality,
they are not.
they are not. It must be
No.
very rare to get a...
I have, I think, seen a lot, touched a lot. Like a lot. A lot of man. Yeah, no, there's a lot of... People are very varied, shall we say.
Yeah. Have you ever been asked for a happy ending?
Never. Apart from you.
I wasn't even being massaged.
Just a daily question.
It was a Tuesday.
Everybody loves a Tuesday.
Have you ever had anybody that made you feel uncomfortable?
Yeah. One person I remember, just because they were so snobby and they just, I don't know. I don't even know what it was.
You just didn't
I
like
just
them.
wasn't comfortable. And if you're not comfortable, you don't feel like you're doing a good job. And that goes in massage or in care work or anything like that. If you're not comfortable, you're not going to do your best, are you? And I always say it to everyone, to all of our staff, everything. If you're not happy in your job, you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
Because it's not fair on the people that you're going to or serving or dealing with or speaking to. Why should they get grumpy as you?
Yeah.
Basically. No one likes a grumpy boy.
No. And I guess they're not paying for that either, are they?
No. People are paying to see... People are paying for help or for relaxation, depending on which job role I'm in at the time. And they want to see someone happy and not a misery,
Yeah, I get that.
basically.
Do you prefer talking during massages or silence?
I don't mind. Doesn't bother me. I don't usually play all the like spa mumbo jumbo music.
No.
I just have a bit of like acoustic in the background. Like, I'm not very traditional, obviously.
And I guess finally, have you got any questions for me? Is there anything you want to talk?
Who's your favourite in-law?
I'm pretty sure you're the only one that listens to this podcast, so it is definitely you.
Knew it. Knew it without even asking.
And this is a test.
Yeah, guys. Come on, let the team down. Do you have any specific memories that stand out of mine and your friendship, more so than our being related now?
I think there was a time where I came to pick you up and we were going out on one of our like
Day trips.
And at that particular time, I wasn't with Liz romantically. And she texted me asking what is going on with you and Bec.
I remember that.
And that was a pretty special moment for me, because although there was never any intention
Never.
for jealousy, in my mind I was like, she still cares.
Oh, yeah.
She still cares.
I'm pretty sure without me, you guys wouldn't be married.
Probably not.
I'm just gonna take that win as my own.
Yeah, you could also be the reason for our divorce.
I hope so. I don't mind sloppy seconds.
Do you have any?
The first time I ever spoke to you on the phone.
On the phone.
I was sat at our family home on the roof, because that's where we used to hang out, obviously.
We did, yeah.
And you said, I've got some advice for you. Forget to wear elbow pads and knee pads in case of carpet burns. I'm not sure what you were referring to, Daz.
Bec, thank you so much for, at the last minute, coming up
I mean,
and doing this episode.
I spent the last 20 years saving your ass.
Yeah, and hopefully the next 20.
Definitely.
It's been a pleasure, and actually it's really nice reminiscing on old times and stuff. And I just wish you the best of luck.
With my life? Or?
We're never speaking again after this. Yeah, have a nice life.
I'll see you tomorrow for dinner.
So there we go, another episode. Guys, thank you so much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed it. There is plenty more to come, but please follow me on my socials. Keep sharing it. Keep talking about it. Cheers.